All right, guys, what is going on? Let's go. Let's go. might have to eat a goddamn shoe. I'm not excited for this shit, but oh man, it is Saturday, October 20th. I wish. It is Saturday, October 30th, and today we are going to be talking about the Virginia governor's election while we're playing Flight Simulator. Very good combination, isn't it? Kind of like puts an emphasis on politics and gaming. Please help. Send help. I'm dying here. Go ahead and transition this over, and the latency is a little late, so I might be a little bit late, responding to some of your replies. But right now we are setting up this flight, and I'm almost wow. Throat hurts. Yeah, my throat's hurting from getting ready to eat a goddamn shoe. And I'll explain that in a second, by the way. Okay, so go ahead and get our flight controls ready. And by flight controls, I'm talking about my PS4 controller. Alright, let's look. So I'm trying to get the speed indicator. Ah, there it is. Just like, why is the speed indicator not working? I'm gonna get this up to about 300, so we're gonna get that to 260 knots. And then vertical speed now will go to 2,000 feet per minute. I think we're good. So we already have clearance to take off. We're going to go ahead and get off the ground. We're going to get up to 10,000 feet, activate autopilot, and then we will begin our discussion about the Virginia governor's elections. Let's go ahead and get everything set up. And, I mean, we're basically already set up. Get rid of these real quick. And I am looking for my freaking parking brake, because a parking brake is always the weirdest thing to find in these planes. All right, let's go ahead and do this. We're going from Dallas Executive Airport to Chicago Executive Airport. A tiny little CRJ-7. Or not CRJ, it's like it's a Cessna. Well, it's not a Cessna, it's a Learjet. It's like a little tiny little Learjet. I think it's a Cessna. Alright. Let's go ahead and power back a little bit.
Omaha 1601 continue for north departure. Omaha 1601 leaving my airspace, frequency change approved.
Executive Tower, Omaha 1601 frequency change. Regional approach Omaha 1601 is type Cessna C-25C 2 miles northwest of Redbird 2,000 feet. Request clearance to transition Bravo airspace.
Omaha 1601 regional approach. Squawk 0656. Envoy tree 784 traffic is 6 o'clock 4 miles at 4,800 feet generic. Report them in sight.
Squawk 0656 Omaha 1601.
Envoy tree 666 traffic is 12 o'clock 4 miles at 3,900 feet generic. Report them in sight. Omaha 1601 radar contact 4 miles northwest of Redbird 5,600 feet.
There's the city of Dallas to our right.
Maintain no navigation.
Just had to reinstall that whole thing.
Cleared through the Bravo airspace, Omaha 1601.
Don't seem to notice me opening Microsoft Flight Simulator, do you? Well, I don't have Discord open.
Envoy tree 784 have the generic in sight.
Okay, I guess we're gonna get rid of
Omaha
that.
1601, you're leaving my airspace. Radar service terminated. Squawk 1200. Frequency change approved.
Anyway, how is your guys' day going?
1200.
Okay, it is 3 o'clock
Frequency
on
change approved. Omaha
Texas.
1601.
Just kinda
Fort Worth Center,
moving
Omaha
through the day, I guess.
Is type Cessna C25C 5 miles
Bugs
southwest of
flying in my
Dallas,
face.
8,800 feet. Request flight following.
Just adjusting the pitch trim. I need to figure out a hotkey to get that on my controller. Yeah, we need to go ahead and activate autopilot. We're now at 12,000 feet. Let's go ahead and activate autopilot. We're going to do heading. Then we're going to do altitude, vertical speed.
Roger, Omaha 1601.
American 1426, you are 16 miles northeast. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect vectors ILS runway 17 left approach.
It's funny, like, this is the first time I've ever flown this thing, so I'm trying to figure out how this thing works.
Overspeed.
Yeah, of course it's ever going on overspeed.
Overspeed.
132.85 for Omaha 1601. Fort Worth Center, Omaha 1601, 12,300 feet.
Overspeed.
Omaha 1601, Fort Worth Center altimeter 29.90 continue to Bravo Yankee Papa as planned.
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
Fort Worth Center, generic November 370 Mike Romeo is passing flight level 410 descending 10,000 feet.
Overspeed.
Blue Street 5307, you are 27 miles northeast.
Alright, there we go.
And maintain 3,000 feet. Expect vectors ILS runway 17 left approach. Generic November 370 Mike Romeo, Fort Worth Center. Continue as planned. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Expect vectors ILS runway 17 left approach. Blue Street 5307.
First, like, 10,000 feet is always the weirdest thing in this game. It's always just like, Jesus Christ, like, trying to do so many things and trying to stream at the same time is like, I'm gonna end myself, swear to God. Alright, let's go ahead and get this heading straight. And we're gonna go ahead and figure out this altitude. Vertical speed on. We're on. There we go.
5 o'clock, less than 1 mile, 8,700 feet, generic.
Then I need to get this.
American 1064, contact regional departure on 135.9.
Okay, so there's a lot of things going on in the chat, which I have not been paying attention to because I'm trying to get all of this set up. Altitude. Wait, can we go to, like, what I wanted to go to in the first place? I wanted to go to 35,000 feet. Yeah, Microsoft Flight Simulator, the game where PG cannot multitask. So vertical speed. Now let's go to 35,000.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Contact DSW Tower on 134.9er. Going to 135.9er, 75 American 1064. Fort Worth Center, American 1064 is passing 10,600 feet, descending 10,000 feet. American 1064, Fort Worth Center, altimeter 29.90, continue as planned. Generic 4 Sierra Bravo, contact regional approach on 124.3. Good day.
Okay, so anyway, today we're really going to be talking about, like, on the way towards Chicago, we're going to be talking about the Virginia governor's election. So the Virginia governor election is starting to get very interesting because in retrospect, I may actually have to eat a shoe. And the reason I say that I have to eat a shoe is mainly because there is a chance that the Republican will win this election. And I was so sure, before I went to Vegas that the Republican was not going to win this election. So, and now, I mean, we got polls that have the that have the Republican up by 8 points. There are a lot of other polls are basically saying, let me actually look. So there's a new poll out today by Roanoke College. Roanoke College is in Virginia, and we have it. McAuliffe is McAuliffe is it? I think it's McAuliffe. McAuliffe is ahead 1 point. Like, this is way deep inside of the margin of error. Every other poll that has been coming out, literally since I've been in Vegas, has literally consistently been 1 point in the favor of the Democrat. And then we had this Fox News poll that basically came out and was just like, nah, man, we're gonna be 8 points ahead. Like, oh my god, like seriously? Like, what? And so I made a comment. And I said, yeah, I don't think that this is going to happen, so I will eat a shoe if this happens. And what we're looking at now is the possibility of me having to eat my own shoe because Mr. Youngkin will actually have a chance of winning this election. And I'm not sitting here trying to say like Republicans or never have a chance of winning. I looked at Virginia as basically the same chances of Republican winning in like somewhere like Illinois or California. Virginia has always been a lost cause state ever since they flipped to Obama in 2008. So the fact that, and the last time that a Republican actually won in Virginia was in 2009, right after Obama went to, or after Obama was elected. $10 degrees. Still trying to get this auto throttle figured out. So, laps. Laps are good. Landing lights are going to be off for right now. And ice. Let's go ahead and turn on our anti-ice.
Is passing flight level 350, descending 10,000 feet. SkyWest 5320 Fort Worth Center, continue as planned. American 2839er, you are 74 miles northeast. Descend and maintain 5,000 feet, expect ILS runway.
Out of talk that the dev of the political process coded in political dynasty feature into the game. Is he watching me? Wait, what the hell? Wow, look at this. PG cannot fly.
ILS runway, tree 5 right approach, via Gallup transition, cleared to Gallup American 2839er.
We're at 15,000 feet. I have to fly this plane out a couple more times, honestly. And also get married. Really? So is that a feature, or is that a feature now, or is that just like coded, so it's like there, but it's not exactly like, you know, in the game yet?
American Flight 09er, contact Fort Worth Center on 132.85. Good day.
Going to 132.85 American 509er.
Let's go ahead and finally get on this Chicago heading. It's going to be the first time I've flown into Chicago. I have not flown into Chicago in this game yet. Chicago always looks really pretty in this game. Dynasty tab. It's going to be interesting. Maybe we can actually bring back Mr. Irwin. A lot of people want me to bring back Sean Irwin. I still think that's funny how people literally are just like, oh, like Sean Irwin, bring him back. But I don't know. I mean, if I'll go ahead and whenever that update comes out, I'll go ahead and try it.
SkyWest 5320, contact Fort Worth Center on 124.75.
So, okay. So anyway, going on about the Virginia election. So, am eating my shoe apparently. The thing about this is like the last time that a Republican actually won in a Virginia election was in 2009. In 2009, let me actually look. I can't think about it off the top of my head. In 2009, Bob McDonnell won against the Democrat Craig Deeds, 58.6 to 41.3. He actually won in a vast majority. He actually got that number for one with a 40% turnout rate. Turnout actually dipped by about nearly 5 points in 2009. And then he actually won in places like, looks like Arlington. No, not Arlington. It's not he won in a lot of the larger suburban areas, suburban counties. Not like the city counties, but it was like some of the like actual larger counties in northern Virginia. So it looks like I think Prince Edward County, in the vicinity of Prince Edward County. I can't think of these counties off the top of my head, so don't make fun of me. Turn on UI, Jesus Christ. Being stalked right now. It's a CJ4, that's the name of the plane. And it's going to be like an hour-and-a-half long flight, by the way. They can make it maybe a little cloudy as we fly into Chicago. I really need to find this auto throttle feature. You turn off that radio, can Can you turn off that radio? Yeah, sure, Chief. I know the radio is kind of getting a little annoying too, especially voices. Turn down the voices, please.
90 is passing flight level 290, descending 10,000 feet.
Think that was it. Let me try one more time. Yeah, that was it. Yeah, sorry about that. I know the voices started getting a little annoying too. I was just like, every time I tried to talk, I was just like, Jesus Christ. And I have it on what do you call it, AI anyway, so the AI takes care of the air traffic control. Okay, so we are at nearly 20,000 feet. Jesus Christ. This plane is so weird. I think FLC was... Is our auto throttle then? I don't know. I'm gonna have to fly this plane a couple more times just to figure it out. How many hours do I have? I have like 40 minutes of flight time in this plane. That is why I suck at it so much. I have like 10 hours of flight time in the larger one of these. But in this one specifically, the CJ4, I have literally no flight time. So that's why I'm having such a hard time trying to fly this. I don't know how to fly it. But anyway, yeah, so the last time this happened, I mean, we're talking about 2009. We're talking about like pre-2010 Republican wave type of election here. And depending on if Youngkin wins, that's gonna ouch. Had an ache in my back. If Youngkin wins, the biggest thing about this is that it's going to decide how strong this Republican enthusiasm is, and that's the biggest thing about this Republican. I'm not going to say wave. Whenever I say wave, I'm talking about like this wave of enthusiasm. This enthusiasm just kind of like shift, because at the beginning it was basically like, oh yeah, at the beginning it was kind of like no one really thought anything of it. Everyone was just kind of like, oh yeah, McCoffee is, I think it's McCoffee. I'm not gonna call him Coffee. It's like I always hear his name and then I completely forget how to say his name right after. McAuliffe. I think it's McAuliffe. But there was this like huge shift, and I think it was that Fox News poll that actually said it, where, let me look. So I'm looking at the Fox News article right now. So we're looking at choice for governor. I want to look at the enthusiasm.
In 2000.
Shut up. I want to look at the enthusiasm. Enthusiasm was a while ago. Hang on. Is it all in the enthusiasm? Okay, so here it is. What changed? GOP. Here it is. Virginia interest in governor's race. So extremely McAuliffe supporters, 69%, and then Youngkin supporters is at 79%. That is a 10-point difference in enthusiasm among Democrats and Republicans. And then very interested is 27% for McAuliffe, and Youngkin supporters is at 21%. But then we have not interested, which is 4% for McAuliffe supporters, and then 1% for Youngkin supporters. So that's a considerable difference, especially whenever it comes to extremely interested and not interested at all. So I'm going to cover this election whenever it comes up in the whenever it comes on Tuesday, and so make sure you guys be here. I'm gonna have maybe a guest or two on. I'm gonna try to get Mr. Matt Gagnon on. Looks like we got a lot of clouds ahead of us. Hopefully we don't run into too much turbulence. Yeah, let's go ahead and throttle up here, sure. There we go. Maybe that'll stop us because we're pitching up a little bit. don't know what this means, but pretty sure it means that we are kind of dragging ourselves right now. But yeah, like it, and I didn't see this coming. I mean, I basically, I'm on Twitter, you know, I'm on Twitter, and I see all of these people like Red Lion Politics, like Red Lion Politics, to an extent, Red Eagle, or actually Red Eagle. So it's it's Red Lion, Red Eagle. A lot of this election Twitter that I follow in, and that I kind of like participate in or whatever. And it's interesting because if a Republican does win in Virginia, it's going to be a very interesting election. If it's close, that'll show that Republicans do have that enthusiasm advantage, because if they can make states like Virginia close, then they're going to make states or even battleground districts in the House very competitive, and that in turn will give them a lot of power going into 2022, which is going to possibly be one of the most pivotal elections that we've had in a very long time. You know, it's going to make 2018 look like child's play, in my opinion. Okay, we're going to go ahead and increase our flight altitude to 37,000 feet. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on the Virginia governor's election? Do you believe that Youngkin will win? Do you think? We only got 8 people in here. Did you hear that the cyber? What does that mean? What? Did you hear that the cyber? Oh, it's it heat. Let's go ahead and turn those on. Tail de-ice, XP flow, engine only de-ice. Don't need that yet. Doesn't even seem that cold up here. It's not that I think. Have we talked about Tiki Gate? Oh yeah. It was funny. I think there was like an incident at a Youngkin rally where basically they had like 4 people get in front of his truck holding tiki torches, and then it ended up coming out that the people that did that, like 2 of them, not all of them, but like 2 of them, were working for the McAuliffe campaign, and like. Why do people do that? Like, why are you stoking flames like that? And again, I'll eat a goddamn shoe if I have to. McAuliffe, you don't have to ruin your chances even further. And that's the other thing, is that the biggest thing about this election is that this is the biggest one, at least in recent memory, where education has been at the forefront of this election. So, because a lot of people are worried that critical race theory is going to, like, you know, invade the schools or whatever, and are worried that their children are being, like, indoctrinated into some sort of I don't know how to describe it, but a lot of parents in Virginia are worried that their kids are going to be indoctrinated. And that's the biggest challenge about Virginia, where it's at first, is Virginia was like the central state in which a lot of the segregation was going on. Back in like the 40s and the 50s, especially the like the 50s and 60s, the last place if you were African American or just if yeah, I guess that's the best way to say it. The last place you would want to be was Virginia. A lot of lynchings occurred in Virginia. And Virginia basically has this like taint on their back where it's just kind of like, oh, we did all this really bad shit back in the 50s and 60s. And the best way to describe it is Germany right after World War II and up to where they are right now, is that they've shifted a little bit over to the left because of their history, because they have this taint that was a very short period of time, but about like 10, 13 years or so, where, you know, they kind of like rose up to become one of the biggest military powers in Europe and killed millions of people because of their race, ethnicity, religion, whatever. And Virginia did the same thing, where they were basically, you know, going after people, and it was all state mandated. It was like state support, not state mandated, but it was like the state, for one, did not want to do anything, and two, the state didn't want to didn't care, essentially. And I'm not sitting here saying that critical race theory is good. I actually have my disagreements with critical race theory. I don't think that it should be taught in schools. I think we should teach what happened in history in schools. But I don't think that there should be, say, like, if there's like some little white kid in the classroom, I don't think that they should be told that they're, like, you know, inherently bad or need to, like, inherently did something wrong because of what their ancestors or whatever did in the past. I personally have several people that I know of in my family tree that fought for the Confederacy. I don't like that, but I can't change that. And I know for a fact that we can do something better. Pentagon's first chief software cyber guy resigned, said it's a done deal that the U.S. has no chance against China in the cyber field. The fact that it's close. Is in a state where Biden won by 10 points says a lot. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Biden won Virginia by 10 points. I believe it was 10 points. It was maybe a little bit less. Hey, look. Let's look. So, Virginia. Okay, so these are the counties I was actually talking about earlier. So we're talking about Fairfax County, Loudoun County, Prince William County. I said Prince Edward earlier. Oh, that's in Alaska. Yeah, so and these were the counties that the Republican actually won in back in 2009. And okay, so we're now at 37,000 feet, 250 knots, and we're gonna lower. I hate this.
Overspeed.
Oh.
Overspeed.
Shut up.
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
I got it.
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
There we go. Okay. Well, if you're right about Virginia being like Germany, it's very likely that they will go more red eventually. 2020 elections. Are you talking about 2024, 2028? 2020 already passed, my boy. Keep on disappearing. It's a bug that's happening to many people since the update build 6. It's been happening since like update build 4. I see that all the time, where like we just kind of like, you know, fly and they just keep disappearing and reappearing and disappearing and reappearing. It's really weird. You're right about Virginia being in like Germany, and that's what it. I'm not saying they're like that. I'm saying that's what it reminds me of. Virginia kind of reminds me of their push on critical race theory. Reminds me of how Germany basically was just like, oh no, like we did all this bad stuff back in the 40s, like, and they want to like kind of like make up for that. They don't want that on their soul, and they're trying to make up for it. Where are we flying today? We're flying from Dallas Executive Airport to Chicago Executive Airport. So we're flying from Dallas, Texas to Chicago, Illinois. We are currently over. Go ahead and check my VFR map. You're over. That is an airport. I don't know what airport. KGSV. You're currently over. Are we near Tulsa? This is the Mississippi River right here. St. Louis is right here, so we're going to fly right over St. Louis. So we are over. Oh, we're crossing. Okay, so here's Mississippi. I think we're over Arkansas now. So KJSV is KJSV. This is Oklahoma, so we're right over. Pull up my VFR map, my actual VFR map. JSV. Okay, so yeah, we are over. We're like maybe 60 miles southeast of Tulsa. So if we actually look out to our left, we actually might be able to see Tulsa. So Tulsa is going to be like somewhere over here. We're like 60, maybe in between like 50 to 70 miles from Tulsa right now. See a little bit of turbulence. They're going to maybe briefly pass over into Arkansas, but then we're going to pass into Missouri. So we're getting ready to pass over Missouri. And then once we do that, we're going to fly for a little bit. We're going to see St. Louis. I think once we get maybe 50 miles past St. Louis, I think we're going to start our descent. It only happened in Germany after a long and at times denazification period. When there was was there such a period in the United States for Germany Virginia comparison? There was never a period for that. That's essentially what a lot of people tried to do last year, is that they saw the United States has never had this period like Germany did, where after the Nazi period, they basically were just like, okay, no. Like, we need to make sure that everyone knows that this is bad. After slavery, there was never that period, because it immediately went into Reconstruction, which ended up becoming this whole period where, you know, we had the Lost Cause, we had this period between Reconstruction and the 20s where it was kind of like this, like, again, kind of lost cause, but then it was like more, we didn't acknowledge what was going on in the South. The South basically was left on our own, and Like, we had this whole election in 1876 where we had to compromise, basically saying in Congress where it's the one time that the presidential election has ever gone to Congress, because the person, there were like 3 different states that were not called, and either of those states were basically going to go toward either run, and either party could have won. This was whenever Rutherford B. Hayes got elected, and then so basically in Congress made an agreement where they were basically like, okay, Rutherford B. Hayes can win this election, but if we give this election over to the Republicans need to pull federal troops out of the South. And this was 10 years after the Civil War. Reconstruction basically ended once those federal troops got pulled out because of the 1876 election. And then between 1876 and about the 1960s, whenever the Civil Rights Act was passed, there was a lot of cultural disenfranchisement. Black people couldn't vote in the South. And yeah, you want to talk about a fraudulent election? Look at the 1876 election. Period right after, yeah. So what I'm talking about is the period like directly after the Civil War, all the way up until the Civil Rights Act was passed in 1965. And even after the Civil Rights Act, if you want to say that the Civil Rights Act was essentially our denazification, and I'm not saying, for the love of God, if you're watching this in the future, please do not take what I am saying out of context. I'm trying to put this into as much context as possible. The United States never had that period of time where we basically were comparatively having some sort of denazification process. Whether it was after the Civil War, during Reconstruction, there was no denazification process. The only thing that happened during Reconstruction was to disarm the South and make sure that they weren't going to rebel again. That was what the point of Reconstruction is. And that is actually a direct result of the assassination of that is actually a direct result of Abraham Lincoln being assassinated because he wasn't able to complete his vision. Radical Reconstruction was the U.S.'s denazification. Yeah, you could say it was denazification, but it wasn't essentially denazification. Denazification basically made former Nazis or citizens basically, come in and say, this was bad. That never happened in the United States because that inevitably led into post-Reconstruction, which was the period right after 1876 to about the 1920s. And this period right here was actually the deadliest because there was the resurgence of the Ku Klux Klan. There was, we had a president of the United States that screened the film The Birth of a Nation. If you don't know what The Birth of a Nation is, The Birth of a Nation was one of the most popular, but also the most controversial movie of the 1920s or the 1910s. They made this movie right before World War I broke out. And basically, The Birth of a Nation was a film about that period that we're talking about right now, between Reconstruction and right then, I think it was like 1911. And they basically, and this was like, you know, white people wearing blackface. They made black people look like monsters. If you want to talk about Lost Cause was all inside of The Birth of a Nation. The Birth of a Nation was like, and I've seen a little bit of it. I've seen maybe like the first 20 minutes of The Birth of a Nation. And it's, oh man, it's a really hard movie to watch. Because of the way it was produced, the way they depict people. It's disgusting. But that and if you're saying that Reconstruction was the denazification of the South, I disagree, because we had this period after Reconstruction, from Reconstruction all the way up to World War I and past World War I, where this never went away. Because the people were basically going into public policy. And if you say that, like, you're completely, I wouldn't even start watching it. It's from 1915. It's an interesting movie from 1915. Like, if you want to see some old movies, like, okay, I'm not going to recommend A Birth of a Nation, but it's an interesting historical movie. It's a god-awful premise. It's a really bad movie, but like, this movie basically kickstarted it. And what my point was is that the President of the United States screened this movie in the White House. This film was the first movie to be screened in the White House, because we have screened many movies before, up to where we are now. I remember several times where President Obama screened. I think he even screened Black Panther in the White House. But The Birth of a Nation was the very first movie to ever be screened in a White House, and this was from a direct order from Woodrow Wilson. Not 16th. He was like the 20th. No, he was like the 18th. Can't remember what name he was. Is the South now free from racism? No. I live in the South. One went from holding slaves only to discriminating. That's pretty radical. But then at the same time, that discrimination was encoded in the legal law. That's the biggest thing. And it was really bad in Virginia. All of this, by the way, all of this, if you're just now joining right now, all of this was central in Virginia. All of it was. Virginia was the worst perpetrator of this. You want to talk about, like, Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia? Especially, like, Alabama and Virginia and Georgia were, like, the top of the top. No place is free from racism. I agree. I still see it. I had some family members that, not my family members, it was actually extended family, where I went to a family gathering with them, and they were, ugh, man, it was I learned a lot of colorful words from them, and it was, you know, looking back on it, it wasn't fun, because, like, I never knew certain words until I went there. and I'm not going to repeat them on this stream nor on this channel. I can have these discussions, but I'm not going to use the type of words that they did. I'm not talking about the word you're probably thinking of. I'm talking about like a couple other words that like just I'm not gonna say it. KRBD, so perf. Ident. Plan KRBD. 2 legs. I don't know if it is underplaying so much as not willing to completely comparing the two. What do you mean by that? But anyway, my whole point on this is that Virginia is in a very unique position where a lot of people basically want to acknowledge the history that Virginia perpetrated. Virginia was central behind a lot of these Jim Crow laws, and that's what I was trying to say earlier. I just couldn't, for whatever reason, it kept on popping in and out of my head. We're talking about Jim Crow. We're talking about the Jim Crow era, which was the era from Reconstruction all the way up to the Civil Rights Act, where a lot of people were disenfranchised because of their race or because they were black. And Virginia was behind a lot of this. And on one side, a lot of people want their the history to be taught and for people to acknowledge what Virginia did. But then on the other side, people don't want their kids to be indoctrinated. They don't want their kids to be told that they are inherently bad because of their skin color. So it's basically a double-edged sword. Do you expose what happened? Do you talk about these topics? And at the same time say, like, you need to do more as a white person to make sure that this doesn't happen? Or do you look and say, I don't want this, I don't want my kid to be taught that they are inherently bad because of their skin color? Not inherently bad, but it's like inherently racist unless you try to do something to stop that racism from happening. Critical race theory is a weird topic. I'm not muted. I'm literally just adjusting that heading. I am actually about to step away for like 2 seconds, but I am not muted. I was just kind of like on the outside of the plane, just kind of looking at it. As I was adjusting my heading. Oh, that is so cool. Look at that. I love seeing that. I do appreciate that that in the chat we have been able to have this type of conversation without, you know, the chat literally just devolving into some kind of like fight fest or whatever. So I do appreciate that a lot of people are you know, having this conversation very respectfully and everything. Let's keep it up. I don't want this to devolve in any other type of fight. I'm gonna step away for like 2 seconds. I'm just gonna go to the restroom. I'll be right back. But if you guys want to have this conversation, go. I'll be right back. Okay. Jesus Christ, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Finally back. Sorry for taking so long. Someone's called Speedbird. That's kind of funny. Okay. I had to go get food. I was streaming and you know, ended up getting told to say, "Hey, go get some food." And I'm just like, "Well, I'm streaming," and then I were just like, "Cool." No, they were just kind of like, "We can wait," and I'm just like, "No, I can't." So I went to go get food, and I'm back. So we just passed over Springfield, Illinois. I think we can go ahead and commence our descent. A little bit pretty cloudy over Illinois today. All right, what do we got in chat? Let's go ahead and check. Backstar in chat. What's going on? America First Politics is in chat. Youngkin is legit leading in 538 and has a history of overestimating Democrats. I mean, they had Wisconsin as D+7. While we do this descent, I'll go ahead and read chat. So we're going to go ahead and commence this descent. Let's go ahead and go for a heading of 000, 360, whatever have you. So I guess it's heading of 0. And then we're going to commence our descent for 15,000 feet. Then vertical speed. We're also going to lower our throttle. We lowered the throttle to half. And we are now in our descent towards Chicago. Alright, let's go ahead and continue reading chat. Big Nick, what's going on? I saw you in the chat whenever I was kind of checking in. Backstar says Virginia has been leading blue since 2008. We had the conversation about this earlier. I said the last time that Virginia went to the Republicans was in 2009, right after 2008. I smell a liberal. What the fuck? I think Youngkin will get an election day boost, so Terry's best. Republicans always have the advantage whenever it comes to election day vote. They always have the advantage. I'm a moderate Southern Democrat. So that's Backstar. Biden won to state 54% in 20. Clinton won to state 49%. I love elections, says Backstar. Republicans tend to support more smaller government. Lower taxes. Democrats tend to support more expansion of government and other social policies. Democrats will win 2-5. At this point, I'm gonna say that Democrat would win. I'm still going to say that the Democrat is going to win this election, but it's going to be by a very small margin. It's going to be maybe 0.7 to 2 at most. 5%. That's from what we're looking at the data that we have now. That is a overestimation of the Democrat now. It won't be close. It's going to be close. To get folks to vote early and by mail, it could be pushing 5%. Speaking of, everyone that is watching right now, check your ballot for November 2nd. There is elections in various different states, so check your ballots. I just had a ballot that was on my election, and we're gonna discuss this whenever I do cover the elections on November 2nd. I voted yesterday. I went to my polling place, my local polling place, and I voted. It was a Texas constitutional amendment election. In your state, you may have local elections. You may have propositions that are on the ballot. You may have state propositions that are on the ballot. Usually every November, there's going to be something on the ballot. If there's not anything on the ballot, then I guess you're pretty lucky. What state do you live in? I live in Texas. So I had various Texas constitutional amendments that were on the ballot this year, so I went and voted. In Virginia, there's an election. In Texas, there's elections. So go and check your Secretary of State. Go check your county and see if there is an election on your ballot. If there is an election, I recommend that you go vote. Every election that you're able to vote in, always vote in it. I have personally voted in every election that I have been able to vote for, including local elections, ever since I've been able to vote back in 2016. 2016 was the first time I was able to vote. The moderates are still the largest faction in the party, and the progressives need to understand that in order to achieve what they want, you need to be willing to compromise and start slow. I have no elections this year. So I guess there's no elections in North Carolina, but there are elections in Texas, and I'm unaware of any other states that do have elections on their ballot. But check your elections. If there is anything on the ballot, again, I recommend that you go and vote. Always vote in any election that you are able to vote in. Is my 2 cents on that. Because if you guys want your 2 cents from PG. I'm curious what you guys think. News outlets seem to be suggesting that the more progressive Democrats are fighting with the president and supposing more moderate faction. What do you guys think? I do not know. Still kind of trying to get my bearings back into politics since I was in Vegas. Still kind of, yeah. Coming back, it's kind of like I'm really jet lagged on politics, so I'm still kind of like, oh, what the hell's going on? I got some of the news on right now on my TV while I'm streaming. Don't vote unless you have a reason for why you're voting. I vote because I like to vote. I like to go exercise my political right. I like to I do my research, and if I main reason why I went to go vote is because of a local proposition. It was like a city proposition that is on the ballot, so that's why I voted. Okay, let's check to see where we are right now. Getting ready to fly over one of the rivers. Can't remember what river this is, but it goes directly into Lake Michigan. We're about less than 50 miles. We're about to enter Chicago airspace. It's good that we started our descent. Go ahead and descend now to about 6,000 feet. We're looking for Chicago Executive. We're not going to be landing at Midway. We're not going to be landing at O'Hare. We're going to be landing at Executive, which is just north of downtown Chicago. $162 people watch this. Wow. Minimum control speed is 94 knots. Maximum gear operating speed is 200 knots. This airplane is certified in the commuter category and must be operated in accordance with the airplane flight manual. Depressurize before landing. Or if I can pressurize. Chicago. Kind of sounds like a Chicago guy. Cross speed. How much fuel do we have left?
Overspeed.
Oh.
Overspeed. 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 Overspeed.
Overspeed. Overspeed. Overspeed. Overspeed. Crash the plane, please. Don't worry, we're gonna make a nice butterful landing here in Chicago tonight. Do you guys like it whenever I play Flight Simulator? Do you guys like? Is this something you guys would like to see more? Like, I like to play it. I love playing Flight Simulator. You guys want to see more flight? I would actually like to play Flight Simulator, you know, while talking about politics. It's actually a very relaxing thing. Like, while we talk about politics, or, you know, we're traveling the country or something like that. Crash the plane, please, would be kind of inconvenient. Well, this plane is the United States, and I am the president. Passing over VOR point Jot. Jot, where are you? Just outside of Class C airspace, Chicago. Joliet? Okay, let's see. Yep, we are now in Chicago airspace. Let's see where this direction is coming from. We go to ATC, nearest airport. We're going to find Chicago Executive. Yeah, of course it's not going to show up yet. It's an okay game, but I think you need a strong top to carry it off. Okay, PTK. Going in for 6,000 feet. We're going to be looking for Chicago Executive. There it is. So we got Chicago Midway, Chicago O'Hare. I think Chicago Executive should pop up very soon. Spite in that response. Wow. Cross down to Bears Stadium so they don't have to watch Matt Nay's team anymore. I don't even know who that is. We have DeKalb, Taylor Munn. Let's go ahead and make a... We're going to put ourselves over here. Go ahead and make a right turn. We're heading 060. No, this is going to be 06. Oh, no, we're going to do 070. We're going to kind of start heading toward Midway. Maybe the cloud layer is low enough to where we can kind of like have enough space below the clouds to kind of like see where we are. I really need to learn how to do ILS landings. That way I don't have to do this. But I don't know how to do ILS. Okay, so here is Chicago O'Hare. Very large airport, Jesus Christ. Here we are. So, we're going to be looking for runway 34. Superior toppings to have on a hamburger. Sometimes tomatoes, depending on where you are. I don't like pickles. Lettuce. Onions. Chicago Executive, there we are.
Executive Tower, Omaha 1601 is 21 miles, south 6000.
So I think we're looking for runway 30. 34. Aha. You know, that's funny. I never reset my altimeter the whole flight.
Make straight in runway 34, Omaha 1601.
Flight controls. Oh, cheese, definitely cheese. Bacon is kind of like here and there. Look at that. We're passing right next to Chicago O'Hare. That is Chicago O'Hare to our left. So we're 9 o'clock, 17 miles from Chicago Executive. Let's go ahead and descend to 4,000 feet. Vertical speed. 2,000 feet. Onions are too vital and healthy. Dressing is a bonus, but it can come too much. My preferred dressing is mayonnaise. Especially if it's a really good burger place, I always go with mayonnaise. They never disappoint me with mayonnaise. There is downtown Chicago to our right. Let's go ahead. to do a direct right, left turn heading. That is Chicago, downtown Chicago. Right to our right. Go ahead and throttle down. It was great for your chips. Never had that before. Let's descend further to 3,000 feet.
Omaha 160, 110, 44 and 17. Cleared to land runway 34.
Runway 34. Almost have a visual of Chicago executive. We're going to do a direct turn. We're facing directly to our 12 o'clock will be Chicago executive. Let's go ahead and descend to 2,500 feet. I see it. I see it. I see it. We can go ahead and disconnect. Go flaps
Landing
1.
gear.
It's going to be a really perfect landing. Look at that scenery right there. We have Chicago O'Hare to our left. Beautiful landing here in Chicago, dudes. Oh, this is beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Trying to make sure. I need to figure out. We at flaps full. Go flaps half. Trying oh, there we go. Flaps full. God, I really need a flight stick. Doing this with the controller is like one of the worst things ever. I wonder no one ever does that. If anyone wants to help, me crowdfund for a flight stick, please do. I got a Cash App. It's PoliticsGaming. Capital P, capital G. We're on our minimums now. Way off center. Probably a little harder than we thought, but nothing is going to beat that landing. Like, look at that. Beautiful. Oh, it's such a beautiful day over Chicago right now. Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. No other game can beat that. This is why I play Flight Simulator. Guns can shoot into the sky, and based on the wealth, some clummy drug lords say they don't have AA guns. Let's go ahead and taxi in for parking. I guess just park wherever the hell you want. This is one dangerous spot to put a runway. Yeah, you should see Dallas Fort Worth International. Like the whenever you're coming in from the north, like I think it's like runway 18. Those runways are literally like right next to the highway. Whenever I'm driving through this area, like whenever I'm driving through that area, you have planes literally passing within like 100 feet of you above the runway. So you should look up Dallas Fort Worth International landings, because those are really fun whenever you're driving right over them. Just like how there's a bus, like several cars that are just like in the middle of the runway. PG was a sneeze away from hitting a port trucker. I love you guys so much. We're gonna park right here. Let's do that. Parking brake.
Oral warning, okay.
Let's go ahead and initiate shutdown. We landed without my... Doing a lot of things wrong in this flight. We have mixed feelings about you, PG. Oh, Pizza K. Keep that on. What's that? Let's actually keep that floodline on. Where else are we? We have a checklist for shutdown. We do not. I just hate that. Crossfeed is off. Let's go ahead and shut down the engines. Yeah. Ah, there we are. I like to see the engines. No mod for old faithful PTK. Where's my mouse at? Ugh. I hate this controller too, like it always like glitches out whenever the connection just gets a little flimsy. Something like that. I don't know. Oh, watch him stop. Look how beautiful these engines look. Not familiar with what type of engines these are. Yeah, I can see it from here. Ah. Why do I look looking at the engines? I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue with shutdown. Yeah. So, I think it's just the battery power now. Yep, that was it. Hour and 51 minutes. Went from KRBD, which is Dallas Executive, to KPWK, which is Chicago Executive. Let's go ahead and continue. And yeah, I think that was it. Very beautiful. Oh God, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Go ahead and get this camera. Showcase. We're gonna do drone speed, rotation speed. We're gonna go to Chicago. Maybe we're gonna... Swear to God, this game's a little buggy. Every update they released, it's always just kind of like, ooh, am I gonna work? Oh, am I gonna not work? Where is Chicago? There it is. And we pretty far up from Chicago, aren't we? Or at least maybe like 20, 30 miles from Chicago. I didn't know Chicago Executive was that far. Otherwise, I probably would have just landed at Midway. Speaking of, do you guys know what Chicago Midway is named after? Here is the city of Chicago. Kind of a clear day now. Wasn't exactly that clear right on our landing, but now it is actually starting to clear up. It's actually starting to move north, it looks like. So here is the city of Chicago. Here's the park. I'm not familiar with a lot of these landmarks. Looks like some construction project right here. Not really familiar with what they're building. This really tall white building always really interested me. Trump Towers right here. You can actually see. Good old Trump right there. I want to get the Chicago landmarks thing. I think I also heard that there's supposed to be new photogrammetry cities. Is what I heard, but I need to look back into that because I really want them to do photogrammetry of Dallas. If they can do photogrammetry of Dallas, it's gonna be amazing. That is the Sears Tower, otherwise known as the Willis Tower if you are an OG like me. This is Chicago? Yes. We just landed in Chicago from Dallas. Flew from Dallas, Texas to Chicago. Okay, this is cool. Yeah. This is what you get to fly around. You have stuff like this. You have Milwaukee. You have New York City. You have Fort Worth. Dallas is not in the game yet, but I have a mod which puts Dallas in the game. And you can actually see that this is all... I got robbed. Jesus. You got robbed in Dallas? Yeah. And the lower sections of Chicago actually really detailed. If I actually get closer, then I got shot. Okay. Sounds like Chicago, but okay. Depends on where in Dallas you went. See, look at that. Look how cool that is. Look. Oh, I love this game so much. See, like, the lower sections. You can see the city in the background. Like, come on. Tell me this game isn't cool. Tell me it's not. There's like a first-person view from this little baseball field. You can see downtown Chicago right there. This is Lower Oklahoma. Oh, yeah. If you guys have any suggestions on where you guys would like me to fly out of or to, let me know. I would like to do more flights on Flight Simulator, so if you guys want to see more, please let me know where you want me to fly to. Want me to fly to your city? It doesn't matter where it is. If it's a small city, if it's a large city, you gotta tell me exactly where it is, and then I will fly there. I'm most likely going to fly out using Dallas. Said my city will never have this level of detail. Where is it at? What is your city? Tell me your city, I'll probably know. God, this game is so beautiful. I love it so much. This is Lake Michigan right here. Flying at night is also really cool because, like, if you, it's really cool because, like, I remember flying from Kenosha, or not Kenosha, it was Green Bay to Milwaukee, and whenever I flew from Green Bay to Milwaukee, I kind of flew over Kenosha, and whenever I was over Kenosha, like, it's nighttime, and you can actually see Chicago from Milwaukee because the city lights are so bright in Chicago. What I really want to do is I really want to fly from somewhere to Chicago at night and then just kind of like see as the city lights get brighter and brighter. But Chicago at night in this game is tremendous. It is so cool to see. Guys, if you guys like this, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you guys want to see more content like this, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss anything whenever I post it to my channel. I'll make sure to make sure you be here whenever I do go live with the Virginia governor's election, and I'll see you guys then. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll probably fit like 1 or 2 streams before that election. I'll probably try to shoot for a stream Monday, kind of like a preemptive stream before the Tuesday stream. But I will be streaming on Tuesday night for the Virginia governor's election. So make sure you be here whenever it happens, and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and take care.